Okay.
Okay. So let me just make sure that we're good to go. Which it looks like we are. Okay. So what's happening is your signal, your bandwidth is slow.
Mm,
So it might catch
okay.
up. It might catch up, but if it doesn't catch up, that means there's going to be a lag, which means that we might sound like we're interrupting each
Mhm.
other. Uh,
Okay.
okay, so like let's just test it for a second. So I'm going to say, how long? Tell me when my voice stops.
Now.
Okay, so there's about a 5-second lag. So we'll just have to be aware of it, um,
Yeah.
and just allow a little bit more time for the other person to stop talking. You got it?
That's
Okay.
good.
Yeah, you
That's
know what
good.
I
I got that. Yeah. Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
or both of us try to make it clear when we stop, in other words, try not to pause, but yeah, it'll work out. It always does. And here's the good news. The good news is that anytime we have technical difficulties, we always have a great show. So, because that means that the frequency is very high. Since we're using Zoom, I'm gonna pull up my page just to get an idea of some of the comments in case we want to refer to them. Let me just give it a little bit more. There's
Yeah.
people coming in. We've got 15, 30, 50 plus people. Okay. 15 on my page and 35 on the others. Oh yeah, just a quick thing, real quick. Thank you everybody for your continued love and support and contributions that allow us to keep doing this every single day. I used to say by the seat of our pants, and people would say, "Wow, you're perpetuating lack of abundance." But I think that's the way 5D is everything is in the now. So I don't have a problem saying by the seat of our pants because it is by the seat of our pants. I don't know how we make it sometimes, but it all works out. And just a quick shout out to Kelly Bird. Keep putting out those brave, beautiful posts. And if you ever want to come on, let me know. And Tristan Jacobson, I just wanted to say the same thing to you because I get inspired by some of your posts, and I appreciate your comments and your participation. So we have a new friend in the house, and we're going to get to know her just in typical Soulogy style, spontaneously, intuitively, imaginatively, creatively, and depending on what we talk about or what we do, courageously. It's the I am soul. So welcome, Glynis from across the pond, Glynis Keynes, and thank you for coming in and honoring us with your presence and sharing space with us today. It's just a talk, a conversation with a mirror of each other with all of our brothers and sisters watching. And you're welcome to ask questions as well. It's not a typical Q&A, but I'm going to throw it on you with the most famous Soul Speaks 5D question is, when did you wake up, or have you always been this weird?
I woke up in 1987.
Wow.
So a few years ago. And I don't know if I've always been this weird, to be honest. Who knows?
So that was the harmonic convergence. Were you aware of the harmonic convergence at the time?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't aware of it at all. I was in Cornwall in the UK on holiday, and I can't explain. Something happened. It was like all of a sudden the blinds were up, and something was taking place, but I had no idea that it was the harmonic convergence until many years later.
So what happened to you in 87 from a human level?
On a human level, I was probably, if I'm honest, I was probably having a bit of a hard time with family, with my partner at the time, and I guess I was maybe subconsciously I was asking for some help, but I didn't really know I was doing it. So yeah.
So what kind of help came in? Is it anything in particular, or
Okay.
just?
Yeah. Not long after I got back, I sort of started researching healing modalities, very simple in those days, aromatherapy, reflexology, all those things, and decided, yeah, I was interested and I wanted to take that further. So I just booked myself into a local college for a night course, and that was it. That was where it started.
Well, did you have any like visitations or any type of energies or divine essences, angels, galactics, elementals, anything that just kind of came in that was a bit otherworldly?
Yeah, not straight away. It wasn't until I actually started practicing, having been to college. I was lucky enough to be able to be asked to do some work in a local health centre. And it wasn't until I started doing healing through my Reiki in those days that I started to receive guidance from above. I never really knew who they were. I just took it as, okay, I'll take this. And then I would find myself, during my healing sessions with clients, I would just find myself talking to them about all sorts of things that had happened to them. I had no idea where it was coming from. I just trusted and went with it. And that was the start of that journey.
Wow. I've heard a lot of healers kind of have the same start like that. Did you start to receive any messages directly meant for you at any time?
No, not really. I just felt that it was more general guidance. I was becoming aware at that time that there were definitely spirit guides there helping me. In the early days, my first spirit guide was a Native American Indian, in all his beautiful, regalia. Absolutely, absolutely amazing man, and he was drawn for me by somebody that I met. And but to be honest, he was the only one that I actually knew. Does that make sense? I've always gone with just like, I don't really need to know who they are. I'm just happy that they're there for the greater good of myself and anyone that I work with and everyone. And I was just happy to go with that, and so I did, and it's still really like that to this day. I mean, I know I have my father with me constantly, but other than that, I couldn't tell you who they were.
Wow. And that's a pretty good run there. That's 13 years plus what, 21, 34 years. A lot of people talk about, and there's no right or wrong. I mean, that's part of the reason we do the show, because everybody's experience is different. And it always seems like, I see a comment in the audience that says, oh my God, I thought I was crazy, but she did, she went through the same thing I did, or it happened the same way for her as it did for me. And I thought I was the only one. But a lot of people talk about how over the years, there seems what starts out as somewhat of a external interaction. It feels external. It feels like it's coming from outside of self. And then over time, a couple of things are commonly said, not always, but one is that there's some level of embodiment in which it begins to feel like it's an internal interaction, and maybe go through a period where you go, hey, where'd everybody go? or sometimes they talk about how it's all kind of congealed into one singular voice. How has it been for you?
Yeah, I think a mixture of all of that, really. There was definitely a time, and it wasn't that long ago, that I realized that actually, with more work, that actually everything was within me. And I guess I probably did go through a time where I thought, yeah, oh, this is a bit odd. Things have changed quite a lot. And then now I'm finding that I can kind of do all of it. It comes and goes at different times, and it depends who I'm working with. Out there. I had an interaction with somebody this afternoon, with a young lady who's just started on a journey, and I was just chatting to her just normally, and then all of a sudden I was receiving all this guidance, and then I don't question it in the moment. I just say what it is, say it how it is. And yeah, I love that. I love the fact that can be so at any given moment in time.
It sounds like you're somewhat of a cosmic switchboard operator.
That's a good way of describing it. I like that.
So in terms of your practice, your practitionership, your energy work, because that sounds like it is directly correlated to your whole quote unquote wake up experience of your life, these 30 plus years. Have you seen a change in the clientele in terms of what they're bringing when they walk in the door? Especially, my question would go to, let's say, the last year and a half.
Well, I actually don't practice as such at the moment. Okay. Because I had a bit of a change of direction in terms of coming out. I spent many years working as a therapist, and I kind of burnt myself out. So I had to take some time out. And as a result of that, life took over, and I believe I was then taken on a journey. And that journey is ongoing. But what that's meant is that I've come away from actually working directly with clients. So I don't do that now. What I do is I've done much work on myself, lots and lots and lots of it over the last few years. And over this last couple of years, I found myself connecting with other high vibrational, like-minded people in groups and in person. I go to Glastonbury a lot. We have lots of groups that get together there. So I'm doing the work in a different way. I'm not doing it directly with clients. I'm doing it more, I don't know, what would you say? I don't know how you describe that, but I'm still doing it. That's the thing. So the last 2 years, I've definitely seen a change in the people that I connect with and the people that I talk to, in many ways, and very positive ways as well.
Yeah. It sounds like similar to what I've picked up on, which is increased telepathy, a magnetization to, we might call, soul tribe. I guess energy exchanges through the less of a formality of a session and more of a natural progression of just what we might call human interaction. But yeah, that sounds like the wave that everyone here is riding. I'm curious with somebody that has your life experience and the longevity in linear terms, going back to 1987. Obviously the world has changed dramatically and rapidly. The eras are no longer 20 or 30 years. They're more like 2 or 3 months now, but the different phases, I mean, so I'm looking at a mirror that has such a wealth of experience. In contrast, there's a tremendous amount of chaos, apparently, and distortion in what we might call the collective field or the movie. But at the same time, there's a parallel of consistent evolution by the individual, soul expansion, and so on, as you're describing. That's also now including co-creation and interaction with Soul Tribe. How does the world affect you now? Are you comfortable and confident in your own growth, in your own wherewithal and understanding? Are you affected at times? Are you never affected? Do you get pulled into the chaos? And if so, how do you get out? I know that's a lot of questions in one.
Yeah, no. Yes and no, and all of that. Yes. I do feel very different now. Since the start of all of this, as all of us have, we've gone on to, most have gone on to yet another level, haven't we? We've just sort of stepped up to the mark, I feel, a lot more, and suddenly realized, well, I certainly have anyway, certainly, just realized that actually, come on, give yourself a bit of a kick up the backside. Let's get on with this now. This is what we've been waiting for. Let's get on with it. So I guess I opened myself up to that and said, okay, just bring it on. Let's do this. Let's get this done. So as a result of that, yes, there are times when I dip into the matrix and just not fall by the wayside, but just maybe take a few steps down and go, oh God, really? And I can recognize lots of what's the word I want to use? People around me that are very 3D, let's say. Don't really like using that word, but yes, still in the 3D and still behaving in the old 3D way. And when I'm surrounded by that, which I sometimes am, I find that extremely difficult to deal with. I sometimes have to just remove myself from a situation, either for a period of time, or I just remove myself, full stop. I try not to get into it. I try not to get into the negative conversations, etc. I try and just let everyone be who they are, because everyone's on their journey. And then I just make sure that I take time out, having gone through an experience like that, some meditation, some quiet time, some being in nature, the things that we all have to do to keep ourselves sane these days.
Yeah. You spoke as well to something that I see happening, and I'm not saying it's the gospel truth or the only way or anything like that, but you mentioned that you were a practitioner for many years, and then you changed directions, and you alluded that you went in and started working on yourself, and I would assume that that's probably shadow work and zero pointing, integrating polarities and so on. But I've seen recently that there seems to be a shift along the lines of what you said, that swift kick in the backside. Hey, we know why we're here now. We've had enough information. Let's get to it. Do you find yourself, or let me ask you this way, it sounds like when you made the shift and changed direction, that inner work became a full-time job. Not that it ever goes away, but on let's just say on a percentage scale, when you made that shift and began the inner work, let's say that was at a level 10, at a 1 to 10. It's kind of a two-pronged question. One, what has that dropped down to, if it has? and two, what's replaced it? Like, how are you walking the talk, I guess, to kind of use your, getting the kick in the backside. We know why we're here. Let's get to it. What is that get to it, and what percentage of that scale of 1 to 10 does that make up now?
Oh gosh, yes, I'd say probably between 8 and 9 now, because if I'm reading the scale right, yeah. So yes, that did involve that that yes, saying yes, let's get on with this. That did involve me opening myself up to shadow work, and that has been incredibly difficult over the last 2 years for me in my personal life. Yeah, it's been really hard. So, and it's been hard in ways that other people have found it hard because of the situation that we found ourselves in. So it's like you have to add that in, don't you, to that whole scenario of being so. I hate the word lockdown. I hate that word, but that's what everyone recognizes it as. So it being in that scenario anyway, but then having that and having to do your shadow work at the same time was, yeah, it was pretty full on.
Yeah,
it was really full on.
They kind of go hand in hand. It's almost like we were doing the shadow work, and then the lockdown, whatever you want to call it, all that stuff, kind of like almost like you were in a fire and somebody threw gasoline or petrol on it. But in terms of like, yep. I mean, I like what you said too about the term lockdown. I mean, it could also be seen as the gift of universal isolation, because we all know what a gift that can be, even though we go kicking and screaming when we're being forced to be in that situation. But how I know it's been difficult these past 2 years for yourself, per what you're saying, and also everybody else, if we want to be honest about it. What is the positive side of it? What have you seen out of yourself over the last couple of years in terms of the positives? Have you seen an expansion, and if so, where?
Yeah, I've definitely seen an expansion, and it's I'm still working on it, as we all are. But I think the thing that's become more abundant for me is how I interact with other people. That's been massive. Being able to just allow everyone and recognize that everyone is on their journey. And it's really important for us as doing the work that we're doing that we accept that, good, bad, or indifferent. So that's been huge, absolutely huge. And particularly in my family, I've seen that's felt really significant for me to be able to do that, and amazing. And I'm so grateful that I've been shown that. So yeah, you're right about, I don't like that word, but I think I don't like it because of the connotations it has from the Matrix, not because I absolutely, and I have actually liked being, I find myself now actually enjoying my own company. And I think that come out of that as well.
Yeah, I got that. I like that. That's good information. I like it because it lends to stay in your own lane. Like, I get a lot of messages, comments, and I'll just be frank and direct because I think that's what telepathy is anyway. We might as well start emulating it. But, a lot of unsolicited advice. You see a lot of that in the community, when somebody puts up a post, then everybody's got to correct them. Not everybody, but you see that energy of, and again, not pointing anyone out because we've all done all things. I mean, it's true. as we've grown in fits and spurts. But yeah, I really like that. And also, I'm not being presumptuous, but I would imagine that because of who you are, that you were probably not like everyone else in your family. Your path was probably a little bit different. And my question is, so you've had this alteration in your frequency, where you've had this revelation and epiphany that you then put into action, which is to accept and allow. Have you seen a reciprocation from your inner circle, from your family, that is also less intrusive towards you?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have, definitely. That things have definitely shifted in that sense of my children in particular. They are totally accepting now, on their own journeys, obviously, in a beautiful way. But yeah, they would quite often, in the past, oh, there she goes again talking nonsense, or similar. um but do you know what? Now it's we have conversations, we have amazing conversations, myself and my daughter and my youngest son, and we have amazing conversations about everything that's happening, and I just thank God for that.
That's interesting. Are you seeing in your children that you just referred to, did you witness in them some type of their own awakening? And are you talking about subjects in these conversations that involve the things we talk about here?
Yes, yeah. Definitely. My daughter woke up quite a few years ago now, but is just, progressing in an amazing way. My younger son, he just really, I've always known that, it would happen at some point, but it truly happened this year and a few months ago. So that's yeah. And so I've watched it all, and we now have those conversations about everything. I share things with them that I think they might find interesting. And yeah, it's amazing.
I mean, you also live in what is really, at least for the last, few thousand years, or at least 2,000, really more, what is a kind of a power center. England, UK has been, if not possibly even the most influential epicenter on the earth. And there's a lot of history there. There's a lot of rumor, conspiracy, and this and that, with its relationship with what the remnants of the Roman Empire and the Vatican and the monarchy and everything. And again, since you've been, in this state of weirdness since 1987, I would imagine that you would probably have an idea. And I know you don't get out a lot, like a lot of us. We're all hermits now, but do you see a change in the communities? Just the general population as you go out to the store and, maybe to a restaurant or just different things. Are you seeing any change there?
Change in what way?
Well, I mean, just in maybe a greater awareness, people asking questions, the topics of conversations, things you probably couldn't talk about 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago.
Yes, definitely. I get surprised almost on a daily basis, really, about, when we have a conversation and someone says something and you think, okay, that's interesting, you are awake then, or similar. Yeah, I've noticed that people are definitely kinder to each other, more willing to help each other out. I live in a fairly small community in Hampshire. Well, it's a village, so it is very small, really. So, you know, village life is always interesting, to say the least. But yeah, I am seeing a difference. I definitely am seeing a difference.
Wow. And also, I'm just curious, this is kind of a side question, but I always, you know, and I've talked to a lot of people from the UK over the years on the show and otherwise, but there just seems to be, I don't know if you would call it a portal or a dimension, or you know, something in terms of the organics of our history, the, you know, being that it's such a prominent place on the grid, and I'm talking about the magical, like elementals, Avalon, ghost. I mean, you got castles, you know, do you ever experience anything like that over the years, you know, when you go out into nature or anything like that?
Yeah, I can remember quite a few years ago now on a I think it was Halloween. I'm pretty sure it was Halloween. We have a castle just down the road called King John's Castle, so that speaks for itself. And it was said to be the place where King John rode to sign the Magna Carta. So that's quite an interesting place. And I was down there one time with my wand, which has an amethyst point on the end of it. And I was just playing around, really. I probably a bit naughty because I wasn't really taking it very seriously. And the amethyst, which was very firmly into the wand, suddenly flew out and just landed, you know, a few feet in front of me. And I thought, oh, whoops, maybe I should stop playing around. This isn't funny. So I promptly said to my husband was with me, and I said to him, I think we need to go, really. So that was a bit of a wake up. Don't play around with this stuff because it's not for playing around with, you know. On other occasions, I've spent a lot of time with two of the groups I belong to on Glastonbury tour. So we've had all sorts of things happen there while we've been doing ceremonies and things, and that's always beautiful. And you know, there's no harm in it. There's never any harm. I joke about the thing at the castle, but you know, these days I take it very, very, very seriously, and we have some amazing things happen. You know, interventions and messages and all sorts, and it's amazing.
Wow. I want to make sure that we don't run out of time before affording you the opportunity, and it's just you don't have to do anything. There's no pressure, no expectation, but I don't know if there's anything that you would like to talk about or offer or do. You're welcome to get up and you know, dance or, you know, sing a song. I'm kidding. But you know, if there's anything that you would like to you know, talk about or do, I just want to make sure that you have the opportunity to do
that. Thank you. There isn't anything in particular. I'm just very aware that my message, if you like, at this time is, you know, just for everyone to remember that love is all there is, and we will get through this. We are already through this. I believe. I believe we're just seeing the final curtain coming down, and you know, we have already made our way through this, and everything is fine. But it's all about people understanding, accepting each other, everyone is on their pathway. It doesn't matter whether you think they are or they're not, or what they're, you know, how they're presenting themselves, for instance. You know, everyone is on their pathway, everyone.
Yeah.
The light, the dark, everyone, you know,
Yeah.
everyone. So
Yeah.
the sooner that we kind of get that as people, the sooner this goes where we all want it to go and is going to go.
Yeah.
And we
What do
can
you,
truly be who we are.
yeah, that isn't that the crazy thing? The crazy thing is the secret to breaking the code all along was just to be ourselves. That's like the big cosmic joke, like, you know, like, but what, and I'm just curious too, you know, again, because you have such, you know, you've seen so much in these 30 plus years. What do you think that is that we're all trying to get to, or what do you think that will be? Do you think we'll see the transcendence of physical death, or maybe another way to put it is to see a reality of what we might call a higher dimension where there is no physical death, or even things like teleportation, bilocation, full-blown telepathy, no, you know, no words. What's your take on what we might see?
Oh gosh, that's a loaded question, Todd. You know, I have these conversations with my friends, and one in particular who I hope is watching. I'm sure she's watching, and she knows who she is. We have these conversations all the time. How is this actually going to play out? I think we're already seeing it playing out in certain ways.
Yeah.
Personally, I feel that, oh gosh, it's more, for me, it's more a state of being. You know, it's acceptance, you know, that we are who we are. We are all authentic underneath once we strip away all the rubbish. Or you know, maybe it's not rubbish, I don't know, but you know, we strip it away, we strip away whatever it is, and we become ourselves, our authentic selves, and we accept ourselves for who we are, good, bad, and different. And I just feel like it's a state of being.
Yeah.
It's, you know, it's you know, not engaging with the lower dimensions and the lower frequencies,
Yeah.
realizing and understanding and learning that, you know, all you need to do is rise up to the higher frequencies and be that soul that you came here to be, and just get on with it and do it.
Yeah. That's a great explanation, because I like it, because if we just focus on what you're saying, then I guess we'll find out what the results will be. You know, but it's kind of like you know, getting the cart before the horse. You know, we're talking about you know, where we're going to be when, if we just focus on what we are, where we are, then we'll find out where we're going to be, as opposed to blocking ourselves from getting there by being focused on getting there and all the things that, you know. Yeah, it's a great advice. Yeah, I love the
And
I love,
and you know,
what's that?
at the end of the day, you know, I don't think any of us really honestly know for sure how it's all going to play out, do we? We don't really.
I totally agree with you. And I'm watching these, and nothing against them, because everything serves us, right? Everything serves us. And then we elevate, and things that used to be of a high substance and credibility aren't anymore, because we're not the same. But I'm watching these platforms, because I watch them because of the work I do, to try to, you know, to try to get expose myself to things and open my mind, and just rhythms and frequencies. But I'm watching these platforms not carrying the level of frequency they have been, because the frequency around it's been raised. And what I'm talking about is the instruction and the stories and the predictions and so on. It seems to be, in my opinion, that people, whether we think they're awake or not, to your point earlier, they're tuning into themselves. And as a result, they're having a reciprocal experience with those mirrors around them, like you talked about with your family. And it just looks like it's pulsating outward, from, different epicenters all over the world. So I really love your, I want to say down to earth, but in a 5D way. Right. It's just, it is what it is. And there's no bells and whistles and woo woo. It's just, yes, I'm connected to all that, but I still am a human being and I work on myself every day. And that's just the way it is. I love that. That's great.
Yeah. I always remember, I don't even remember who it was, but somebody that I had a reading with a few years back kind of put it in a nutshell and said, you're just who you are. You just do what you do. You don't there's no ego. It's just, well, come on, let's get on with this then. Let's do this. And you just do it quietly with, as you say, no bells and whistles. And I think that probably describes how I do it, actually. It is.
Yeah. I like that. That's great. It's a pleasure meeting you. Maybe we can sit down together again and after the first of the year and continue this conversation. And it's a refreshing way to start the day. We have 4 shows today, and this is a great start. I love seeing this energy, particularly these feminine incarnates that have been awake for so long, that have been kind of in the background and just stepping forth now, because I think it's symbolic of what's happening energetically. You can say that the mother goddess frequency or divine feminine frequency and all of us is coming out. That would make sense. We've got Joanne Honey Thomas coming on in 10 minutes. She's a QHHT practitioner. She's going to talk about her life and share some intel from the sessions that she receives, a lot like Dolores Cannon and Allison Kodu. But I just want to say thanks again. Thanks for coming in and sharing space with me and honoring us with your presence. And I look forward to collaborating with you again down the road.
Thank you, Todd. It's been amazing. Thank you so much. And let's do it again. It's been amazing.
See, it wasn't too bad, was it?
No, it was okay. It was okay.
I'm sorry you were nervous. I hope I made you relax a little bit. You take care. All blessings to you and your beautiful family. Take care. Bye-bye.